They sit me beside the trash cans, two gray rubber barrels tucked behind a folding screen that doesn't quite reach the floor. The bleach sting is sharp as peppermint gone wrong, and the clatter of plates funnels here like this corner was designed to bruise dignity. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. A server pushes through the swinging kitchen door, and it kisses my chair each time. Tap, tap like a metronome set to humiliation. Cozy, isn't it? My daughter, Sloane, says, smoothing her emerald dress like she's the hostess of a royal banquet and not my child. We're full up near the tree. You don't mind, Mom? I don't answer yet. I count 1 breath. 2 skin the room. 3 note the exits, the staff pattern, the location of the manager's station. The fake snowed tree in the center of the rented ballroom twinkles like a conspiracy of light. On the far side, the head table stretches under a garland that reads, "Family is a choice." That's new. It wasn't on the mock-ups I paid for. Sloane leans closer, peppermint vanilla perfume riding over the bleach. Don't make a face. You always say you're fine anywhere. I place my clutch on my lap. It's red leather, structured, designed to hold papers without bending. I'm 59, a small business owner who spent 20 years building a catering company from a rented kitchen to a regional brand with 6 trucks and 2 commissaries. My hands remember hot trays and contracts. The clutch holds both kinds of heat today. Can we please move my mother? My son-in-law Jamie asks a server, his voice pitched like a man who believes he won a prize. He doesn't look at me when he says mother, he looks at Sloane. The server glances at the seating chart and easel with my handwriting cut out, replaced by glossy cards in a curly font. We're at capacity, she says. Per the event manager. Per me, Sloane says, then smiles toward the photographer. Over here. Group shot with Grandma. I stand, the chair legs squealing against the floor. The photographer lifts a camera. The flash pops. The tree blinks. It will all look beautiful on Instagram. Cranberry napkins, sugared cranberries, a toy train circling the dessert table. If you crop out the trash cans, I step into the frame, then step out of it. I'll be right back, I say, and make for the manager's station. Mom, Sloane, sing-songs behind me. Don't wander, I don't wander, I walk with intent. The manager, on duty late 20s, neat beard, navy tie, looks up like he has already been told who I am and what not to let me do. His name tag says Ethan. Ethan, I say, I'd like to speak about a contractual matter. He glances at the floor, then at the kitchen door, then back at me. Is everything all right with your brunch, Ms.? It's Mrs. Keating, I say. And no, the matter relates to sanitary placement of waste receptacles in guest areas, ADA egress clearance, and the status of today's catering contract. Where's your GM? He swallows. She's off-site. Then, you're it. I tap my clutch. I'll make this simple. Behind me, a tinkling bell announces the arrival of a tray of mimosas. The smell of orange hangs bright in the air like a dare. Ethan folds his hands. Ma'am, if you have a complaint, we can. Not a complaint, I say. An action. Over his shoulder, through the small oval in the kitchen door, I can see my company's logo on the side of the aluminum hot boxes, Keating Co. Because Sloane booked my competitor, borrowed my menu, and then hired my own former prep cook to undercut my rate. I recognize my signature cranberry orange strata. I recognize the caramelized edges. I can smell my own recipe in someone else's pans. It's almost funny. Almost. Here's the thing, I say, and slide a sheet from the clutch. This is a notice of immediate cancellation of the catering portion of today's event under Section 9 Health and Safety of your in-house vendor agreement. It's signed by the contracting party. I tilt the page so the light hits the embossed clause. You can verify the signature. Ethan blinks. What? Section 9 allows cancellation, without penalty, upon documented sanitary breaches affecting guest areas. I nod toward the screen and the barrels beyond it. Those trash cans are a breach. The door hitting chairs is a breach. The foul smell is a breach. I documented all 3, time-stamped. I tap my phone. The photos are crisp, the barrel lids askew, a used glove peeking like a flag of surrender, a child's stroller wedged near an exit. Also, I'm the contracting party. His voice cracks. But our contract is with Ms. Sloane Keating. Sloane used my card on file, I say, and the venue requires the account holder to co-sign. That would be me. I hold up a second paper, the rider I added the day she surprised me by asking to use my network for her Christmas brunch while telling me to enjoy the day as a guest. In the rider, I reserve the right to intervene for safety and reputational risk. Consider this intervention. Cancel their catering now. Ethan tries a different door. We can remedy the placement. Move the barrels. Good, I say. Do it. Then cancel. Both can be true. He stares at the paper as if it might change. It doesn't. He flips it over, searching for mercy on the backside. None there either. A tink-tink on a glass calls the room to attention. Sloane stands at the head table with a microphone, the Christmas tree sparkling behind her like she personally plugged it in. Everyone, she trills. Before we eat, a toast. Ethan looks between me and the stage like a man at a train switch. I see his calculus. A full room, a holiday, a mother with a clutch full of receipts. Ethan, I say softly, you also have a second document on file, delivered this morning by courier. I slide a third sheet free, face down. Let him feel its weight before he sees it. It concerns ownership. He turns it over. His mouth opens, closes. No way. Yes, way. I can hear my own heartbeat now. Steady cymbal soft under the room's carol. Your landlord executed a quitclaim deed at 8:07 a.m. to a holding company. 2 hours later, the holding company recorded a warranty deed in favor of Keating Ventures LLC. I am the managing member of Keating Ventures. I own this building. For a second, only the tree crackles. Ethan recovers. Ma'am, with respect property records deeds, this is filed and time-stamped, I say, and show him the clerk's stamp. I wouldn't bring you a toy. He looks toward the bar, then the kitchen, then towards Sloane, who is in mid-toast, saying something about honoring family traditions and new chapters. The room laughs at the right beat, without knowing what it's laughing at. I know. The joke has been running for months. Sloane sees me by the manager's station, and her smile snaps, then stretches wider, too wide. She raises her glass, and a special thank you to my mother, for I lift a hand. Hold the toast, I say. No microphone. My voice still carries. A few heads turn, then more. The train around the desert table slows on its track like it knows what's coming. Mom, Sloane warns, her smile freezing like a pond. I step forward just enough to be seen. Not enough to be trapped by cameras. Quick housekeeping, I say. 2 things. Murmurs. Jamie straightens at the head table. My sister-in-law pretends to fix a napkin to watch better. First, I say, for safety, these trash barrels are being moved out of guest areas, and the egress path by the kitchen will be cleared. That's per code and per your venue contract. I nod to 2 staffers who, bless them, are already rolling the barrels away, cheeks pink with the suddenness of a new rule. I let that land, then lift the second paper, the rider, between 2 fingers. Second, I say, and now my voice clicks to the register I use when trucks break down on wedding days and a storm is rolling in. Section 9 is invoked. Catering is cancelled. Gasps flutter like ribbon. Cancelled. Someone echoes. Sloane laughs, a brittle laugh. No one is cancelling anything. Mom, sit down. The venue manager has confirmed, I say, and Ethan, to his credit, nods once. The nod of a man who knows the quickest way out is through the truth. Sloane's eyes go bright like a person who tasted salt and thought it was sugar. You can't cancel my brunch. It's not your brunch, I say, and I feel the tremor of the line, the way it will sound on replay. You used my account. You used my name. You used my menu without paying the person who wrote it. You seated me behind the trash cans and called it logistics. I look at the room, not for sympathy, just for witnesses. So here is the new logistics. I turn slightly so Ethan can see I'm not bluffing when I lift the third document. The one with the clerk's blue stamp and the block lot description. The one that started as a whisper of a plan in mid-October when I discovered Sloane had rerouted one of my December contracts to a competitor with a finder's fee to herself. Effective today, I say, Keating Ventures owns this building and the underlying land that includes this ballroom and any food service operations conducted within it. As owner, I'm instructing a temporary suspension of service pending a sanitary reset and a vendor review. Owner, Jamie scoffs. You bought a building this morning, Jamie, I say gently, because I loved him once as the man who brought my daughter soup when she had the flu. I wired the earnest money last week. We closed at 8:07 a.m. The seller enjoyed my timing. Sloane's hand tightens on the microphone. You're ruining Christmas. No, I say. I'm restoring it. A small boy near the tree claps as if I performed a trick. His mother hushes him, eyes wide. Mom, Sloane says, voice slippery, searching for purchase. Why would you? Because boundaries, I say. And the word tastes clean. Because law. Because you told the seating captain to put me by the trash cans so her friends don't crowd the tree. Because you signed a fake email as me to book a vendor you could skim from. Because you called it family and I call it theft. Ethan clears his throat. The sound of a man accepting that the job today includes being a planet the gravity just shifted under. Ladies and gentlemen, he says into a staff mic. Steady now, professional. We'll take a short pause to address a facilities issue. Please remain seated. Complimentary coffee will be provided. You can't just. Sloane begins. Actually, I say, and slide the final page from the clutch, the one that isn't paper at all but glossy, a photograph. It's the centerpiece of the whole morning. I hold it so only Sloane and Jamie can see their faces. Last Tuesday, in the competitor's kitchen, standing over my cranberry orange strata recipe printout, my prep cook's handwriting visible on the margin. Double zest, cut sugar. The photo is time-stamped. The prep cook gave it to me when she realized Sloane had forgotten her promised bonus. People switch sides when the math changes. I slip the photo back. Ethan, I say, please escort Miss Keating and Mr. Haviland to the manager's office. We'll handle next steps privately. Sloane's smile comes back to bright, as if a flash went off inside her skull. We are not. You are, I say. Or I'll read your credo to the room. My what? She snaps. The one you texted your friend last month, I say. Family is curated. Parents are optional. Her mouth shuts. She knows the text exists. She knows I have it. I look down at my chair, the one that kept taking the door on the shoulder, and pull it gently away from the wall. I set it at the edge of the head table, where the garland dips low and the crystal catches light like morning on water. I take my seat there. The cushion sighs like a yes. The room watches the barrel parade disappear through a side door. The bleach sting fades under the bright of orange and coffee. A server places a plain white mug in front of me like a benediction. I don't add sugar. 2 things. I repeat. Calm now. My heart steady as a metronome set to grace. Safety first. Then business. The toy train starts again. Slow, sure, circling what's sweet. My name is Mara Keating, 59, founder of Keating Co, catering 6 trucks. 2 commissaries, 32 employees in peak season, and a rule card in my wallet that reads, pay on time, taste everything, never let family run the register. I built the company on a folding table, a borrowed convection oven, and a loan I paid off 3 months early. My ordinary world smells like yeast and citrus at 5:30 a.m. When I unlock the Southside commissary and the blast chiller hums a crisp 37 degrees, the first microanomaly slips in wearing my colors. On October 11th, Paula at Harbor House emails to confirm December brunch pricing. The PDF carries my logo, my fonts and rates I would never approve. A coordination surcharge routes to keatingcoordination@gmail with a signature that's almost mine. The M slanted left like it's limping. Paula jokes that I sent the wrong sheet. I don't joke back. I ask for the metadata. The PDF exported at 1:06 a.m. I don't export anything at 1:06 a.m. except coffee. I don't call my daughter immediately. Sloane is 33, an interior stylist with magazine taste and pop-up ethics. She has helped me stage hundreds of dessert tables, eucalyptus, mercury glass, twinkle lights, but she also thinks invoices are vibes. Instead, I look for a second data point. It arrives with butterflakes. Jamie, my son-in-law, stops by with croissants and an envelope. Mail mix-up, he says, dropping my Amex statement on my desk like a napkin. The total carries an extra comma. The authorization shows M. Keating in that same left-leaning signature. Jamie beams, holiday crush, you're killing it. His grin is a soft close on a hard cabinet. Stakes, in plain language, become legible. Money, unknown deposits under my name. Reputation, fake rate sheets, traveling as me. Home, the business that pays my mortgage. Freedom, the difference between choosing a 14-hour day and being sentenced to one because someone else spent my credit. I loop in my bookkeeper, Nate. On October 14th, he sends a tidy PDF with 3 red circles. Harbor House, $7,500. The Brick, $5,000. Sycamore Lodge, $3,000 all December. All with authorization from M. Keating and vendor contacts listing. IP logs show my home network that narrows the suspect list to anyone with my Wi-Fi and a willingness to pretend my name is theirs. At home that evening, the porch light rings the steps in a perfect halo. Sloane sits at the dining table, threading jingle bells onto ribbon, making napkin rings that look like bracelets. What is Keating coordination? I ask. Coordination, she says, as if the word answers itself. Keeps your inbox clean. Who signs my name from it? She rolls her eyes. It's a digital signature. That's not a defense. That's an exhibit, I say, keeping my voice even. You discounted my salmon to skim a coordination fee to your Gmail. It's called a service charge, she counters. Men do it daily and bill twice. Men also get indicted daily. I say, we'll review with Nate tomorrow. We don't. She stops answering. When I swing by the apartment, Jamie says she S with the client and closes the door, like he S sliding a file back in the cabinet. I pivot to receipts. I request vendor lists from every December venue. The Bricka downtown darling with chandeliers and mediocre HVAC lists. Keating plus Sloane coordination via Gmail. Harbor House emails over a contract with my name misspelled Mara Keating. The signature slopes left. I print 3-hole punch label. Oct anomalies. An ally enters. By cost. I hired Jules Wren, a contracts attorney who reads fine print the way sommeliers read legs. Add a rider wherever your card is on file, she says after one meeting. Reserve intervention rights for health, safety, and reputational risk. Not punitive, protective. It lets you pull the brake if someone weaponizes your name. I courier the rider to the Brick, Harbor House, and Sycamore Lodge timestamped, signed, scanned. The second ally costs me pride. My prep lead, Lena, knocks on my office door with a face I recognize from the day we found a raccoon in the dumpster. You should see this, she says, sliding over her phone. The photo shows Sloane and Jamie in Caraway Catering's kitchen, my competitors standing over an open binder. Center frame, my cranberry orange strata recipe, my handwriting visible, double zest, cut sugar by 1/4. The image is time-stamped last Tuesday and snapped by Carla, a former Keating prep who left in September for Caraway's promise of 3-day weekends. I call Carla. She's whispering from a walk-in. She promised me a $500 bonus, Carla says, breath-fogging the call. Then she said she'd get me on the back end and blocked me. I shouldn't have sent the photo. I was mad. You did right, I say. Check Venmo in an hour. After we hang up, I transfer $500 from my account to Carla Gem with the memo, Recipe Ethics. I screenshot it. Receipts are a blanket in a cold room. November 2nd. My son Evan drops by after a paramedic shift, smelling of antiseptic and winter. Did you approve Sloane's coordination fee? He asks, blunt as a bandage rip. Aunt Dara paid her through at Sloane's bios. Memo says coordination. Thought that was not a thing you do. It isn't, I say. Stay on radio for me. He squeezes my shoulder like he does for strangers on bad days. You're better at this than they are, he says, and raids the staff fridge for leftover strata because he's still my kid. I spend November collecting dots and drawing lines. Email from Paula with the 0 hours export time. PDF of the Bricks vendor list, naming Sloane plus Gmail. Amex statement with the slanted Venmo screenshots. Aunt Dara gives photos of Sloane in Caraway's kitchen over my recipe. Rider courier receipts, stamped received. Sloane, meanwhile, turns the volume up. On Instagram she posts jewel-tone mood boards and captions like family is curated in a font that pairs well with denial. I screenshot, not because it hurts though, it does, but because texts become creeds when read aloud. I try normal one last time. On December 10th, we walk the Brick. The HVAC rumbles. The tracks of the holiday train 2 blocks over send a faint metallic purr through the floorboards. Head table by the tree. She decrees. Tree belongs, central for flow and egress. I counter. Move it 3 feet forward, open the exit, or don't, and we violate code. You and code, she scoffs. Don't weaponize safety against my vision. Safety isn't a weapon, I say. It's insurance we never want to cash. She squares her shoulders. Mom, you're jealous. People look at me now. It isn't a contest. It is, she says, to simply, life is curated, parents are optional. There it is, her credo, uncloaked. Control dressed in velvet, consent presumed because the invitation says, family. On December 1st, a door opens I didn't expect. Mr. Klein, who owns half of downtown, mentions that Roe, the landlord across the river, wants out of Harbor House by year-end, due to a sour partnership and kitchen repairs. He is not interested in funding. He's liquid. He'll move, Klein says. The word move lands like a key in a lock. I walk Harbor House Withrow. The tile is chipped. The hood is a wind tunnel. The bones are good. My partner can't clear financing till January, he says. If you can wire earnest money now, I can quit claim to a holding company this month. You record and move forward with a warranty deed to your LLC. Clean by the book. I call Jules. She says 7 words that change my posture. If you can stomach it, it's smart. She outlines the path in one breath. Purchase agreement, earnest wire, clear title, quit claim for speed, warranty deed for clarity, record at county with blocklot, triple checked, update venue files upon recording. This isn't revenge, she adds. It's repositioning. On December 1st, I wire the earnest deposit. On December 20th, row calls. Tomorrow, 8:07 a.m. Partner wants cash before Christmas. At 8:07 a.m. on December 24th, in a bland conference room that smells like lemon cleaner, we sign Ravel Holdings. My interim entity receives Rouse Quit Claim Keating Ventures LLC. My operations entity receives a warranty deed. Jules stamps. The runner records the filings at the county clerk. The clock reads 9:12 a.m. when the blue stamp hits the page. Property law is so unromantic it's almost holy. I leave the clerk's office into air so cold the sky pings. 2 texts from Sloane wait on my phone. Don't be late. Jewel-toned dress code. Then, we rearranged seating to make space for the tree. You'll still have a great view. The winking emoji lands like a shove. There's one more rectification. I drive to Caraway Catering and ask for Penny, the owner. I place Carla's photo on her desk. This is my recipe in your kitchen, I say. My daughter told your staff I approved it. I didn't. Here are the Venmo and the timestamp. Here is the rider at Harbor House. Proceed under a false authorization and you jeopardize venue access. Penny stares at the page like it might sprout teeth. Then she makes 2 clipped calls. We'll pivot, she says. Not losing Harbor House over someone else's hustle. It's my hustle, I say. And it stops being other people's harvest. In the hall, I hand Carla her bonus the way dignity is handed back quietly, with documentation. Check Venmo, I say. She does. Merry Christmas, Miss Keating, she whispers from the cold mouth of the walk-in. I spend the late morning doing what I do best. Walkthroughs at Harbor House. The toy train clicks through a test loop. The fur is fresh. The bleach stings under it like mint with malice. The egress diagram on the wall is up to date. The seating chart at the podium is not mine. The screen hides 2 trash barrels with their lids askew, a used glove peeking like a small flag. Ethan, manager on duty, neat beard, doesn't know yet that I'm his new landlord. He will. I take one precaution. I print 4 sets of documents for the Red Clutch rider with Section 9 Health Safety, Reputation Intervention, right stamped, received by Harbor House, photos of the trash barrels in guest areas with time and location, and a second of the swinging door kissing a chair documented breaches, receipts, Amex page with left-leaning signature, vendor list, naming Gmail, Venmo 2 at Sloane Styles, Carla's $500 repayment, property filings, quitclaim to Ravel Holdings, warranty deed to Keating Ventures, county clerk stamp with block lot numbers. I'm not planning a scene. I'm planning a surgical reset that looks, on paper, like non-negotiable maintenance. At 10:45 a.m., I arrive as mom, not owner. The room smells like orange peels and fresh fur. Monique, the seating captain with a posture that could hold a chandelier, leads me toward the corner. I see the trash before she does. I'm so sorry, she whispers. We were told this was the VIP nook. Not your fault, I say. It won't be long. My chair catches the swing of the kitchen door tap every 40 seconds. A detail that seems petty until you add time, dignity, and the proximity of bleach to food. Across the room, Sloane sparkles an emerald. Jamie in a confident navy. The head table sits under a garland that reads family as a choice. New signage, new theology. I count, because counting keeps my temper from doing math of its own. 1 breath, 2 scan, managers, station, kitchen porthole, bar service, fire exits, partially blocked by a stroller. 3 note, Ethan is the decision node, Monique is the ally. Sloane will go for optics. Jamie will discredit and flatter in the same breath. I stand, move toward the manager's station, and say the same sentence Ivy said to storm-panicked brides and venue owners whose ice machines just died. I'd like to discuss a contractual matter. Is everything all right? Ethan asks, already bracing. It will be, I say. and set down document 1 the rider. Under Section 9, I'm invoking a health safety intervention. Those trash barrels are in guest areas. This door is impacting a guest chair. The stroller partly blocks egress. All documented with time-stamped photos. Will clear the hazards immediately, and, per this clause, cancel today's catering. He blinks. Cancel without penalty. I add, your contract allows it under Section 9. If sanitary breaches occur, ma'am, we can move the barrels. Good, I say. Do it, and we cancel. Both are necessary. I keep my tone coaching him. Also, confirm the contracting party. He checks the file. Cardholder, M. Keating. Me, I say. I lay down document 3MX vendor list. Gmail, Venmo like. A small hand of cards. This event was booked using my accounts. I'm not delegating authorization today. A tink-tink glass rings the room. Sloane takes the mic near the tree. Instagram smile pasted on. Before we eat one more document, I tell Ethan, and slide over document for the deeds with the county stamp. As of 9:12 a.m., Keating Ventures LLC holds title to this building. I'm the managing member. I'm asking for a short service suspension while we perform a sanitary reset and a vendor review. He reads the stamp, looks up. The moment he nods small, professional is the moment the plan clicks into place. I don't need to shout ownership in a crowded room. I need a manager doing his job with the correct facts. What happens next? You've already seen. The barrels roll out. The room rustles. Sloane's smile hardens. And I move my chair from the door swing to the head table edge, where it should have been placed in the first place. The bleach recedes under orange and coffee. The toy train circles sweets. Paper did its work. That's the rewind. That's how a mother with a clutch full of receipts walked into Christmas brunch prepared to cancel a catering contract and, if necessary, on the problem, literally. Ethan guides us into the manager's office's square room with beige paint, a humming mini fridge, and a window that looks onto the ballroom like a muted broadcast of Christmas. The tree blinks, the toy train circles the desert table. The door closes with a soft seal. In here, it smells like paper and lemon cleaner, not bleach. Sloane refuses a chair. She stands, chin tipped up, emerald satin catching the light. Jamie leans against the filing cabinet, arms folded, deciding whether to charm or bulldoze. Ethan sits at the desk with a legal pad ready. I set my red clutch down and meet Ethan's eye. To matters, I say. Safety and authorization. Mom, Sloane says, sugar over steel. The trash cans are gone. You made your point. Let the staff serve. You're not ruining this. I removed a hazard, I answer. Now we address the fraud. Jamie laughs once. No one committed fraud. Then this will be quick. I slide the first sheet across the desk. Venue Riders, Section 9, Health, Safety, and Reputational Intervention by the cardholder. I tap my name, filed, stamped, on your account. Ethan reviews, nods, confirmed. Next, I lay down the Amex statement with the left-leaning signature. The vendor list from the brick showing Keating plus Sloane, coordination via Gmail, and the Harbor House, contract with Mara Keating. These are the methods, I say. Wrong signature, wrong email, wrong name. Sloane rolls her eyes. It's a digital signature. You act like I robbed a bank. It becomes forgery when you sign my name to obtain something of value, I say evenly. It becomes fraud when you benefit from it. I'm not here to debate statutes. I'm here to stop the Jamie cuts in, upbeat. This is family business, not venue business. Ethan, we're good. Start service. Ethan keeps his hands folded. Service is paused under Section 9 pending resolution. You work for me, Sloane snaps. I work for the venue, he replies, calm. And per the documents Mrs. Keating presented, she is the venue owner. Silence takes a breath. Sloane stares at me. Jamie's eyebrows climb, then settle into a smirk he can't hold. You bought a building, he says. For a lesson for a reposition, I say. I wanted control of a kitchen I've cooked in for a decade. Christmas timing is a byproduct of your choices. Sloane plants both hands on the desk. You can't embarrass me like this. You are addicted to control. Boundaries aren't control, I say. They're instructions for where respect starts. She laughs. Brittle. Respect. You walked into my event and made a scene. You seated me behind trash cans and called it logistics. I say. There's the scene. Jamie lifts both palms. Reset. We'll apologize for the seating thing. Mom moves her chair. Ethan, fire it up. We'll handle the optics. No improvisation. I slide a photograph from the clutch and place it between us. Sloane and Jamie in Caraway Catering's kitchen. My cranberry orange strata recipe open. My handwriting double zest, cut sugar visible. Carla's time stamp sits in the corner like a clock that doesn't lie. This isn't a misunderstanding, I say. You took my menu to a competitor and said I approved it. Sloane's eyes skim the image like she hopes it will blur. She picks a lane. You shared that recipe with me. With you, I say. Not with a vendor. Not as commercial authorization. Context matters. Jamie squints, then tries on a smile. We're down to Grandma's French toast. Don't belittle the food that pays your rent, I say, tone flat. You have 3 choices. 1. Admit misuse. Refund any coordination fees. Sign a no authorization agreement. 2. Dispute, and I file police reports for identity misuse and fraudulent authorization and notify venues and insurer. 3. Leave now. I proceed without you. You wouldn't call the police on your daughter, Sloane says, but there's less in it than she wants. I'll document crimes against my business regardless of who commits them, I answer. I prefer restitution. I look to Ethan. Let's be specific. He uncaps his pen. Item 1. Immediate refunds of any coordination amounts collected via @SloaneStyles or any Gmail tied to my company name for today's event. We'll list names and sums now. Item 2. A written acknowledgement that contracts were executed using unauthorized signatures purporting to be me. Agreement not to use my name, logo, accounts, or rate sheets without written consent. Item 3. A spoken apology to staff for the seating directive and for obstructing egress. You're making a mountain out of an aisle, Sloane says. Section 7.2 requires exit aisles clear at all times, I reply. You parked a stroller across one. The mountain exists. We're measuring it. She exhales, sits. The satin whispers, I didn't steal from you, she says, softer. I worked, you worked. I say work gets paid. Theft gets documented. Jamie rubs his jaw. Let's not use criminal words, he says. We can resolve this like adults. What if we convert any coordination into tips? Tips are flexible. Tips are for servers, Ethan says, professional but firm. Not for principals, rerouting contracts. Beyond the glass, our family mills, the bar pouring coffee. The room looks still, but the stillness is tension holding its breath. Sloane's eyes shine. Anger or tears, both are possible. You love humiliating me. I love you, I say. Humiliation is optional. Accountability is not. She looks to Jamie. The silent conversation fix it. Follow me passes between them. He straightens. Fine, he says. We'll refund the coordination Venmos today. He pulls out his phone. Dara, $250. Uncle Walt, $150. The Thompsons. His thumbs move. And any venue surcharges, I add. We didn't collect those, he says too quickly. Then it will be quick to say so in writing, I reply. I turn to Ethan. Service will reopen after a sanitary reset and vendor review. I'll comp coffee and pastry during the pause. Ethan nods. I'll open the bar. We'll need the owner's comp signature. You'll have it, I say. Sloane leans back, eyes on me. Fine, she says. But I want my toast. I'm thanking people. Apology first, then toast. Non-negotiable. Your toast is fine, I say. Your apology comes first. The words are, we made poor choices about seating in vendor communications. We are correcting those now. Thank you for your patience. No more. She blinks, surprised I didn't fight the toast. Okay, one more removal, I add. The family is a choice banner over the head table. It's unkind in context. Take it down. That's petty, Jamie says. That's how standard, I answer. Decor that demeans gets removed. Ethan writes remove banner and stands. I'll brief staff, comp coffee and pastry, clear egress, remove banner, and coordinate a 30-minute reset. We'll need signatures. Send me the incident acknowledgement, I say. I'll sign for the venue. He nods and leaves. Sloane lingers, arms now crossed, but lower. What about the menu? She asks, smaller. If Caraway can't use your recipes, what are we serving? Caraway pivots to their menu: quiche salad, roasted potatoes, bakery pastries. I say it will be fine. If you want my strata, you book Keating Co. through Keating Co. with a contract and deposit that actually came from me. She flinches, the mail mix-up memory landing. That was a mix-up, I say. We're done with those. She eyes the pen on the desk like it might bite. I'm not signing anything yet. Then, we don't reopen, I say. Speaking without signing is choreography. We need closure on paper. Jamie mutters, for God's sake, Sloane, and reaches for the pad. He signs the venue incident acknowledgement, then slides the pen toward her. She doesn't take it. I reach into the clutch and place one more page on the desk. A text screenshot. Sloane gives Tessa, November 18th, 10:22 p.m. Sloane, Mom is a brand, not a person. Sloane, I can do Keating better than Keating. Sloane, family is curated. Parents are optional. I keep a finger resting on the page so it's not a gavel. I didn't bring this to shame you, I say, quiet. I brought it because words become contracts when they hit air. This is your credo. Own it or edit it, but don't deny it. Color drains, then returns to her face. She straightens. I wrote it, she says. Good, I say. Then write the apology. Her hand trembles as she picks up the pen. It steadies as she signs. The signature leans right hers, not mine. Ethan returns with 2 staffers. Banners down. He reports. Bars pouring. Reset underway. Announcement in 2. Thank you, I say. Back in the ballroom, the air softens, with coffee and pastry. Murmurs turn from sharp to round. Ethan hands Sloane the staff mic. She looks at the room, family, friends, employees who've seen us at our worst and keep showing up anyway. She glances at her phone and reads, We made poor choices about seating and vendor communications, she says. We are correcting those now. Thank you for your patience and for celebrating with us. Shoulders ease around the room. Aunt Dara nods like a bobblehead of absolution. Evan gives me a small thumbs up from the coffee station. Sloane lifts her glass. And thank you all for coming, she adds, her toast cadence finding its groove. Family means showing up and adjusting when we need to. She doesn't say curated. That omission feels like progress. Polite applause. Ethan leans in. 20 minutes to service. He murmurs, I signed the owner's comp for coffee and pastry. The pen moves easily. Paperwork that once felt like tedium now feels like a backbone. Penny from Caraway catches my eye by the service door and gives a half apology with her hand. I nod back. We both know today wasn't ideal, and we both know what we preserved. Licenses, access, reputation. Monique appears at my elbow. Would you like your seat here? She asks, indicating a chair at the edge of the head table, where I can see the tree and the Knocklear exit. Yes, I say, thank you. She leans closer. I'm sorry, she whispers. About earlier. You followed instructions, I say. Next time you'll have better ones. Merry Christmas, Mrs. Keating. Merry Christmas, Monique. We sit. Evan slips into the chair to my right for a moment and squeezes my knee like I used to squeeze his hand crossing streets. Perimeter set, he whispers. Policy set, I whisper back. Sloane and Jamie work the tables. Soft apologies, quick smiles, returning borrowed dignity where they can. It's not the apology I'd have scripted for a daughter I once carried asleep from car to crib. It is the apology that fits the world we have short, specific, witnessed. Ethan taps the mic. Thank you for your patience, he says to the room. We appreciate your understanding as we maintain a safe and joyful event. Plain language, no drama, the best kind. Plates land, quiche, bright salad, rosemary potatoes. Not my menu, not theft either. That distinction matters more than taste. Jamie drifts by. What do we tell people if they ask why the menu changed? He murmurs, the truth, I say. We prioritized safety and policy. He grimaces. Boring. Boring is what compliance feels like, I say. It keeps rooms open. He nods, unexpectedly thoughtful, and moves on. Sloane passes behind me, pauses, and bends close. You didn't have to buy the building, she says. You could have just said no. I've been saying no for a year, I say. You kept saying curate. I changed the context. She holds my gaze an extra heartbeat, then nods, emotion so small you'd miss it if you weren't her mother. I'll send the files to Jules tomorrow, she says. And I'll reimburse you for Carla. Thank you, I say. The toy train rounds its track with a cheerful click. The head table feels like a table, not a stage. The exit stands open, clear. Ethan returns with a clipboard. I sign M. Keating in my right-leaning hand. He glances at the signature, then at the clutch. Your paperwork is immaculate. It had to be, I say. We eat. Conversations restart. The room exhales. I sip plain coffee and let the present tense arrive without dread. We didn't save face. We saved standards. and that saves more days than a perfect menu ever will. By the time plates land, the room sounds like a room again, forks on porcelain, soft conversation, the toy train making its easy loop. The first smell holds, but the bleach edge has faded, replaced by coffee, steam, and rosemary. I let myself take 3 bites of quiche before standing. One more set of things needs doing while the room is calm. Ethan, I say quietly. And we step toward the manager's station where the light is flatter and the clipboard feels like a steering wheel. Let's formalize what we agreed. He nods, flips to a fresh page, and writes, as I speak. Owner actions. Comped coffee pastry during reset. Sanitation notice posted at kitchen, egress cleared. Banner removed. Client actions on mic, apology delivered. Written acknowledgement signed. Refunds initiated to named parties. Menu pivot, executed by outside vendor. No use of company IP or credentials going forward without written consent. Add this, I say. File transfer, all emails, PDFs, and contracts executed under my name or logo for December events to be forwarded to Jules Wren, ESQ, by 5:00 p.m. tomorrow. Inventory list attached. He writes fast. And remedies. Restitution, I say. Any coordination fees collected for today, returned to payers by end of day. Any earlier fees tied to my brand or signature returned within 7 business days. We'll send a ledger to confirm. Done, he says, and tears the carbon copy so I can tuck one into my clutch. Paper that travels becomes memory that holds. I cross back to the head table. Monique materializes with the grace of a well-run floor and places a fresh water glass by my plate. We're good, she whispers, like a quiet benediction. I nod. Good enough is a real destination. Across the room, Penny from Caraway checks her warming cabinets and gives me a brief salute, half apology, half solidarity. Vendors who survive know the difference between a bad day and a bad practice. We had the former. We corrected the latter. When dessert bakery pastries, no gingerbread theatrics arrives, Sloane taps her glass. The mic isn't necessary now. The room leans in because that's what rooms do at the end of a meal. I want to thank everyone for coming, she says, steady, and to thank the staff for making adjustments today. Family means showing up and fixing what needs fixing. She doesn't look at me, and she doesn't look away. That counts for more than I would have predicted 2 hours ago. Polite applause again, warmer this time. We cut pastry. Sugar softens the edges of adrenaline. Evan swings by with 2 paper cups of water, like he is still on a run, and sets one by Aunt Dara, who smiles at him like he hung the moon. I pass a cinnamon twist to the small boy who clapped during the first announcement. His mother mouths thank you over his head. The basic acts still work. When the last plates are bussed, Ethan returns with the compact incident packet he's typed downstairs. It's neat, chronological, unsentimental, the kind of record that stands up when memory gets performative. Review for accuracy, he asks. I scan quickly. The timeline is clean. 10:45 seating. 11:17 safety intervention. 11:22 service pause. 11:28 apology. 11:31 sanitation notice posted. 11:53 service resumed with alternate menu. Attachments listed. Rider, photos, comp sheet, property filings, acknowledgement. I initial each page and sign the last in my right-leaning hand. Thank you, I say. Send a copy to Jules. He nods. Already cute. Jamie drifts up, posture less cocky now, phone in hand like a receipt printer. We're square on refunds, he says. Dara, Walt, the Thompsons. I'll send you screenshots. Send them to Jules too, I say, and include a written note. Refunds completed for coordination fees collected under misapprehension of authority. Plain English. He mouths misapprehension like he's tasting a new ingredient. Okay, a pause, then quieter. It'll look bad if anyone screenshots. It'll look like accountability, I say. That ages better than spin. He nods, the smallest bow I've ever seen him make, and floats off to help collect gift bags that suddenly feel less like trophies and more like clutter. A few relatives try to test the perimeter of the day with jokes. So you own the building now, Uncle Walt says, chuckling. Guess that means drinks are free forever. It means liability is mine, I say, light but unmoved. So drinks are priced correctly. He laughs because he thinks I'm kidding. That's fine. The price of safety is usually humor until it isn't. Aunt Dara leans in, conspiratorial. I told Sloane the trash cans were cruel, she whispers. She said I didn't understand the aesthetic. You understood the egress, I say, and that makes her glow in a way she hasn't in years. People like to be right about real things. We transition the room. The toy train gets unplugged. Table numbers are collected like little flags after a skirmish. The tree keeps blinking because it's on a timer, and docents care about human narrative arcs. I help Monique collapse one stubborn easel that never likes to fold. The metal squeaks. My thumb remembers the leverage trick from 100 weddings. Familiar work is a bomb. Will you walk the kitchen with me? I ask Ethan when the guests start pulling on coats. It's not a power move, it's a habit. I like to see the hidden spaces last. We push through the swinging door into warm light and the music of service at the end of its song. Pan lids clinking, a final hiss of dishwashers, the low murmur of staff coasting down. The posted sanitation notice looks calm and official, the way good notices should. The barrels are gone, lids matched to bases like hats to heads. The egress strip glows a clean line. You run a good house, I say. We try, he says, with the kind of pride that doesn't need a trumpet. Congratulations, by the way, for closing this morning. He looks genuinely pleased, not sycophantic. I've worked under 3 owners here. The best one always stood in the kitchen at the end and asked the dishwashers how their day went. I take the hint and step toward the dish pit. Ramon, wrist tattoo peeking from a wet sleeve, grins when I ask if the reset made his life harder. Easier, he says. Barrels out of the way, he shrugs. Less dance. His practical blessing lands better than any speech. Back in the ballroom, Sloane is at the far edge with Jamie, consolidating the floral leftovers into 2 manageable bundles and a tote for the stems that shouldn't go to waste. This is the part of her I love without qualifiers. The tidy, competent postscript to a mess. The instinct to steward beauty all the way to the bin. When she sees me coming, she stiffens, then releases, like a muscle remembering where neutral is. I'll send the files tonight, she says before I can ask. Not tomorrow, tonight. I'll sit with Jules on Zoom and make sure it's everything. Thank you, I say. Send Carla a note with the reimbursement. Don't let her hear about it from me. Her jaw ticks. I will. We stand in the soft chaos of teardown, and for a moment I let the day drop out of its parenthetical and into the sentence of our lives. I say, because we both do better when the air is clear. If you want to work with Keating Co, we'll make a contract. You will invoice under Sloane Keating, stylist, not under my name. You will get paid for work. If you book venues using my accounts or signature again, I will file police reports and move to protect the business. I won't fight with you about it. I will file. She's pale by the end of that, but she doesn't argue. I heard you, she says. I don't like it. I heard you. You don't have to like it, I say. You have to stop. I don't know who I am if I'm not. She gestures to the room, the flowers, the idea of a life in flattering light. Be this with contracts, I say. You're good at taste. Practice honesty until it's a skill. The muscle in her cheek softens a fraction. You always think it's a skill, she says. You never give anyone credit for being naturally good. Natural is just early practice. You forgot you did, I say. It's a line she call a motherism in therapy. That's fine. She'll remember it anyway. Jamie steps in, trying to be a bridge. We can draw up something with Jules, he says. Clear lanes. We'll stop using any Keating Co assets unless we're on contract. We'll pay rush fees if we need your kitchen last minute. We'll put it in writing. Good, I say. He surprises me by holding my gaze a second longer. I didn't understand how close to the line we were, he admits. I thought we were pushing, like growth hacking. This isn't the internet. I say it's a kitchen. Push here and knives slip. He nods, chastened, but not crushed. There's a future version of him I could respect if he trains in a new direction. Guests filter out. Evan starts stacking chairs with Ramon, the dishwasher, because he can not help when he sees lifting. Aunt Dara hands me a tin of cookies she insists I take because it's tradition, and we're both grateful for harmless words. I walk her to the coat rack. Merry Christmas, she says, squeezing my hand. You saved the day. It isn't that dramatic, but it's kind to hear. At the threshold, Ethan hands me 2 sets of keys on a neutral black fob. Owner copies, he says. The weight is modest. The implication is not. Tomorrow, I say, we'll schedule a meeting with the team front and back of house. I want to hear what's working, what isn't, and what code actually says, not what people think it says. Bring your health inspector notes. We'll eat them for breakfast. He smiles like he might actually enjoy that. I'll send a calendar invite. On my way to the door, I stop by the manager's bulletin board menus, shift notes, an old schedule curling at the corner. I pin a single index card next to the sanitation roster, written in black marker in a hand my staff recognizes. 3 lines, safety first, always in plain sight. Contracts say what love can't. No one eats next to trash. It isn't poetry. It doesn't need to be. Rooms remember rules better than speeches. Outside, the winter light has gone, the blue of evening, and breath shows in little clouds that make people smile at their own bodies, doing basic chemistry. The tree lights inside still flash through the frosted panes like a heartbeat. Evan walks me out with a box of leftovers balanced on his forearm. You going to sleep tonight? He asks. Like a person who filed the clerk stamp before lunch, I say, that's my lullaby. He snorts. You and paperwork, me and roofs that stay on, I say. At the curb, Sloane catches up, bouquet in hand, not a grand gesture. Just an extra she noticed, didn't deserve the bin. Here, she says, almost embarrassed. For your kitchen table. No trash near it. There's humor in it. It lands like a small truce. Thank you, I say. They smell like December. She hesitates. Do you hate me? She asks, too light to be casual. I hate when you make me choose between mother and owner, I say. I'm better as both. She nods, eyes shiny, and escapes before I can offer a hug she's not ready to take. Jamie lifts a hand from the sidewalk like a man signaling acknowledged to the tower. It's something. In the quiet of my car, I open the red clutch and lay the day's stack on the passenger seat. The rider, the photos, the incident report, the comp sheet, the deed copies. Each page is a rung on a ladder out of a hole we dug together. There's a legal term for what we built today, restitution, but in the smaller court of holidays, it's called keeping the room safe. What we did today is simple on paper. Under the venue riders, Section 9. I invoked a health safety clause to pause service due to documented sanitary breaches, trash in guest areas, egress obstruction. As cardholder and co-signer, I had standing to act. As property owner of record, recorded quitclaim to my holding company and warranty deed to my LLC, both timestamped by the county, I had authority to order a sanitary reset and vendor review. The clients issued restitution by refunding miscollected coordination fees and signed a written acknowledgement not to use my name, logo, accounts without written consent. No criminal complaint was filed because they complied and made restitution. The documentation is preserved should future misuse occur. The venue kept its license clean. The insurer, if notified, would see a mitigated risk rather than a loss. Before I leave, Ethan texts a photo, the sanitation notice taken down, replaced by the regular kitchen checklist. Monique emails me a short thank you. It felt good to say policy, and mean it. Jules replies to my forward, good paper Mara, sleep. Carla sends a heart and a paid thank you after. Sloane reimburses the $500 with a one-line apology that doesn't try to be pretty. Penny from Caraway sends a professional note. Appreciate the clarity. We've removed Keating recipes from our internal binder. It reads like a line drawn with a ruler. I drive home past storefronts that still have white lights up because the city can bear to be fully dark in December. The bouquet rides shotgun, fur under flowers under cold air that finds its way into the car and makes everything smell cleaner than it is. At a red light, I catch my reflection in the window, older than the first time I plated a canape, steadier than the last time I let a bad boundary slide for peace. If this is what steely looks like, I can carry it. Back inside my house, I set the bouquet on the kitchen table and toss the index card from the venue onto the counter. It looks small alone. It looked big on the board. That's how policy is. It scales with the room. I pour a glass of water, sit, and open my notebook to a clean page. Tomorrow's list writes itself. Meet with Ethan plus team. Walk kitchen with health inspector notes in hand. Update venue SOPs to match writer language. Add egress checks to seating captain script. Send out a vendor memo. Recipe permissions, IP boundaries, and escalation paths when a client presents approval that isn't theirs to give. Draft a collaboration agreement for Sloane Keating, stylist, offering market rate fees for defined tasks, mood boards, table styling, day of decor, supervision paid net 15, with a clause that terminates upon any misuse of credentials. Schedule a quiet coffee with Evan. He'll pretend he can't stay, then stay. Email Aunt Dara the code section about egress because she will love having it. Call Ro to confirm the kitchen hood maintenance schedule. I pretended not to memorize this morning. When I capped my pen, the house clicks softly, heater on, foundation settling, pipes doing their winter song. The day bulks in memory like a thing that will have 3 different versions by New Year's. I don't care which version anyone tells. We wrote the record. I rinsed my coffee mug from this morning, the one that went cold while I waited at the clerk's office, and set it to dry. The smell of fur and pastry hangs in the air like a rumor. I don't mind carrying a little longer. I lay the red clutch on the counter, palm resting on it a second the way I used to rest my hand on a sleeping child's back to feel the breath. Paper doesn't breathe, but it can keep a heart steady. Tomorrow I'll be a venue owner with a sandwich at a folding table again. Tonight I'm a mother who refused to be seated next to trash and called it love. Snow starts just after midnight, powder fine, the kind that makes the streetlights look like they're exhaling. I wake to the hush it brings and pad to the kitchen for water. The bouquet Sloane pressed on me sits centered on the table, not curated so much as gathered: cedar, a few white ranunculus, 2 sprigs of rosemary that make the whole room smell like memory. My phone buzzes once. An email from Jules. Received the incident packet. Venue file looks clean. Proud of you for choosing paper over performance. Below it, a calendar invite from Ethan for tomorrow morning. Team huddle, safety and SOP refresh. 30 minutes, coffee provided. The subject line is dry, which is how I like my certainty. I set the red clutch beside the flowers and take out the day's documents one last time. The writer, the photos of the barrels and the door, the owner's comp, the incident report, the recorded deeds with their blue stamps. It isn't a trophy pile, it's a toolkit that did its job. I slide everything back into the clutch and close it with the soft click that feels, tonight, like punctuation. Not a period, more like a semicolon. We continue. A car passes outside, tire crunch gentle on the skin of snow. Somewhere, a neighbor's wind chimes answer with a single note. I think about the moments that could have gone another way. The assistant who could have mislaid a deed. Carla deciding not to send the photo. Monique too afraid to whisper, sorry. Ethan blinking and choosing optics over policy. We got the version where adults did their jobs. That shouldn't feel rare. It still does. On the counter, an index card waits under the magnet I grabbed without thinking. Safety first. Contracts say what love can't. No one eats next to trash. I'll bring the card to the venue in the morning and pin it where shift eyes land first. Traditions are just rules that remembered their purpose. Before I go back to bed, I send one text I've been avoiding all evening. To Sloane, proud of you for reading the apology. Proud of you for signing. Coffee next week, my office, no audience. We can draft your styling agreement with Jules. Love, Mom. The dots appear, disappear, return, then stop. No reply. It's late. Or she's not ready. Either is acceptable. I rinse the mug I am not supposed to leave in the sink overnight and set it to dry. The kitchen clock ticks the same way it did when I came home from 12-hour shifts and laid invoices on this table, promising myself I'd get good enough at business that I wouldn't always be catching up. Tonight, I didn't catch up. I got ahead. I changed the context. In the doorway, I pause and look back the way I did when the kids were small, making sure the house was itself stove off, doors locked, branches in water. The bouquet catches a draft and shifts, faint rosemary moving like a quiet yes. I flip off the light. The room keeps its shape in the glow from the window, the snowlight doing the soft work of reflection. When I sleep, it's easy. Not because the day was perfect, it wasn't, but because the ending made sense. Boundaries drawn with love. Receipts instead of rage. A chair moved from the door's swing to the table's edge. I wake before dawn to the idea that feels like a blessing and a policy at once. We can keep Christmas and keep standards. We did both. If you're still here, thanks for listening. I'll meet you in the comments. Your voice matters.